The most dangerous place to be in life is a place of comfort. Look around you right now, the person sitting next to you, the person you see in the mirror every morning. They are either growing or they are dying. There is no maintenance in life. You are either advancing or retreating, conquering or surrendering, becoming or diminishing. Every single one of us was born pregnant with potential. Inside of you right now are dreams, abilities, and gifts that the world desperately needs. But here's the paradox that many never understand. To give birth to that future self, you must be willing to no longer be who you are today. Transformation is not optional for those who want to live a life of purpose. It is the fundamental law of advancement. The caterpillar cannot become a butterfly while holding on to its caterpillar identity. The seed cannot become a tree while remaining a seed. And you cannot become who you are born to be while desperately clinging to who you have been. I want to speak to something deep inside you today, that restlessness you feel, that dissatisfaction with the status quo, that whisper telling you there must be more. That is not a curse. It is a gift. It is the future calling to the present. It is your authentic self crying out to be born. Many people live their entire lives as imposters, not criminal imposters, but living as lesser versions of themselves. They adapt to expectations, conform to limitations, and slowly bury their true potential under layers of compromise. And the tragedy is not just personal, it's universal. Because when you fail to become who you were meant to be, you rob the world of something irreplaceable. Today I challenge you to answer the call to transformation, not with passive agreement, but with decisive action. Because you have an appointment with destiny that you cannot afford to miss. To understand why leaving who you are is necessary, you must first understand who you currently are. And I'm not talking about your name, your job title, or your social roles. I'm talking about the set of beliefs, habits, and patterns that define your current existence. Your current identity is the product of many things: your upbringing, your environment, your past choices, your traumas, and your triumphs. Some of these elements have served you well. Others have become limitations that imprison you. We develop attachments to our current identities because they provide us with certainty. Even if your current reality is painful, there's a comfort in knowing what to expect. Human beings are creatures of habit who would often rather endure familiar pain than risk unfamiliar possibility. The invisible chains of self-limitation are the most binding because you cannot see them. You've told yourself stories about who you are for so long that you've forgotten they're just stories. I'm not good with money. I'm too old to start over. I'm not creative. I'm just not the type of person who can lead. These narratives feel like facts, but they are simply choices you keep making. How do you know if you're living below your potential? There are clear signs. Do you feel a persistent sense of restlessness? Do you find yourself envying others not for what they have, but for who they are becoming? Do you catch yourself saying, one day I'll, but that day never seems to arrive? Do you feel that your life lacks meaning despite external success? These are symptoms of a life constrained by an outdated identity. Your current identity served a purpose. It got you here. It may have protected you, helped you survive, or even brought you some measure of success. But the qualities that brought you here are rarely the qualities that will take you there. The mindset that helped you survive cannot be the same mindset that helps you thrive. The greatest danger is not that you will fail at becoming someone new, it's that you will succeed at being someone less than you were designed to be. The past version of yourself was necessary, but it was never meant to be permanent. It was a cocoon, not a coffin. Understanding your current identity isn't about rejection or self-criticism. It's about honest assessment. What parts of who you are align with your deepest values and authentic potential? What parts were adaptations to circumstances that no longer exist? What parts were compromises you made when you didn't know better? And the first step in transformation is awareness. You cannot change what you do not acknowledge, and you cannot leave behind an identity you have not fully understood. If leaving behind your current identity is the first requirement for transformation, then having a clear vision of your future self is the second. You cannot become what you cannot see. Vision always precedes manifestation. The power of seeing beyond your current reality is that it creates tension between where you are and where you could be. This creative tension becomes the energy that drives transformation. Without it, change is merely reactive, not purposeful. But how do you discover your authentic purpose? It begins with understanding that your purpose isn't something you create, it's something you uncover. It already exists within you. The question is not what should I become, but rather who am I when I'm most alive? Who am I when I lose track of time? Who am I when I feel most useful to others? Who am I when I feel aligned with something greater than myself? There is a profound difference between potential and manifestation. Potential is what's possible. Manifestation is what's actual. Everyone has potential, but few manifest it fully. Why? Because manifestation requires vision followed by consistent action in the direction of that vision. When I talk about vision, I'm not talking about vague dreams or wishful thinking. I'm talking about a detailed mental picture of your future self that is so vivid you can almost touch it. This kind of vision has power. It pulls you forward. It makes decisions for you before you have to make them. It filters opportunities. Vision also brings responsibility. Once you see who you could become, you become responsible for that becoming. You can no longer hide behind ignorance or circumstance. Vision removes excuses and demands action. The vision of your future self should excite you and scare you at the same time. If it doesn't scare you a little, it's probably not big enough. If it doesn't excite you, it's probably not authentic enough. Now we arrive at the heart of our message. Transformation requires separation. You cannot become who you're meant to be without leaving who you were. This principle is as old as time, yet many of us resist it fiercely. Why does transformation demand separation? Because growth always requires space. A seed must leave the safety of its shell to grow into a tree. A child must leave the security of crawling to experience the freedom of walking. An eagle must leave the comfort of the nest to discover the power of its wings. There is a principle at work in life that I call necessary endings. Some chapters in your life must close for new ones to begin. Some relationships must change for new ones to form. Some habits must be abandoned for new ones to take root. Some beliefs must be questioned for new understanding to emerge. Throughout history, every story of significant transformation has included the abandonment of the old. The entrepreneur who left the security of employment. The artist who abandoned conventional paths. The leader who stepped away from popular opinion to stand for truth. The inventor who discarded accepted limitations. Consider for a moment what you might need to leave behind. Perhaps it's a limiting belief about what's possible for someone like you. Perhaps it's a relationship that keeps you tethered to an old version of yourself. Perhaps it's a comfort zone that has become a cage. Perhaps it's an identity built around what you do rather than who you are. Leaving doesn't always mean physical departure. Sometimes it means mental or emotional release. You can remain in the same location while completely transforming your mindset. You can maintain relationships while transforming how you show up in them. You can continue in your career while bringing a completely different energy and purpose to it. The paradox is that the more completely you leave behind who you were, the more fully you become who you truly are. Separation isn't about creating a false self. It's about shedding the false to reveal the authentic. Those who lack the courage to leave eventually experience a different kind of pain. The pain of unrealized potential, the ache of the unlived life. This pain is far more devastating than the temporary discomfort of change. So I ask you, what are you clinging to that's preventing your transformation? What familiar limitation has become so comfortable that you've mistaken it for your identity? What would become possible if you found the courage to let it go? Transformation is not an event, it's a process. Understanding this simple truth will save you from much frustration and disappointment. Too many people expect instant metamorphosis and then abandon the journey when they discover the path is longer than they anticipated. The stages of becoming your authentic self follow a pattern that we can observe throughout nature and human experience. First comes awareness, the recognition that change is needed. Then comes decision, the commitment to that change. Next comes separation, the leaving behind of the old. Then comes the awkward stage of transition, when you're no longer who you were, but not yet who you'll be. Finally comes integration, when the new identity becomes natural. That awkward transition stage is where most transformations fail. Why? Because discomfort is inevitable during this phase. You feel incompetent. You make mistakes. You doubt your decision. You miss the familiarity of your old self. This is where the caterpillar turns to liquid in the chrysalis. Neither caterpillar nor butterfly, but something in between. Let me tell you something powerful. Inside that chrysalis, the caterpillar doesn't just grow wings, it completely dissolves. Its entire being breaks down into a cellular soup before restructuring into something entirely new. This is the perfect metaphor for profound transformation. There is a period in genuine transformation where you might feel completely undone. Your old identities, skills, and certainties dissolve. This dissolution isn't failure, it's necessity. Most people abandon transformation precisely at this crucial point. They interpret the discomfort as evidence they are on the wrong path, when in fact it's confirmation they are on exactly the right path. Discomfort isn't the enemy of transformation. It's the herald of breakthrough. The secret to navigating this stage is understanding that discomfort is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of growth. Every discomfort in the transformation process is actually growing pains. They don't indicate that something is wrong. They confirm that something is right. There's a principle I've observed in every genuine transformation. The intensity of the resistance often indicates the importance of the breakthrough. The more significant the transformation, the more powerful the resistance. This resistance comes from both internal and external sources. Internally, your own habits, fears, and limiting beliefs fight to maintain the status quo. Externally, systems and relationships that benefited from your old identity may resist your evolution. This resistance creates what I call transformation tension. Learning to work with this tension rather than escape it is essential for becoming. When you feel this tension mounting, don't retreat, lean in. It's often the final barrier before breakthrough. Building resilience through intentional change means embracing these discomforts rather than avoiding them. It means recognizing that feeling awkward, uncertain, or even incompetent is not just normal, it's necessary. No one masters a new skill, embodies a new identity, or creates a new life without passing through this valley of uncertainty. The process of becoming requires patience with yourself. It requires self-compassion when you falter. It requires persistence when progress seems slow. Above all, it requires trust in the process itself. Think about learning to walk as a child. You didn't give up after your first fall. You didn't decide crawling was good enough. You persisted through countless failures because something inside you knew walking was your destiny. The same principle applies to every transformation in life. The process also requires acceptance of cycles. Transformation rarely follows a straight line. There are surges of progress followed by plateaus. There are breakthroughs followed by integration periods. There are even temporary regressions that paradoxically set the stage for greater advances. I've observed a pattern in successful transformations that I call the spiral of becoming. Unlike a straight line, a spiral revisits similar territory but at higher levels. You may find yourself facing similar challenges or lessons repeatedly, but each time from a more advanced perspective. This isn't going in circles, it's ascending a spiral staircase. Recognizing this pattern prevents discouragement when you encounter familiar challenges. Another crucial element of the becoming process is reflection. You must regularly pause to notice your progress, learn from setbacks, and refine your approach. Without reflection, experience doesn't become wisdom. It just becomes repeated experience. The quality of your questions determines the quality of your transformation. Instead of asking, why is this so hard? Ask, what is this difficulty teaching me? Instead of when I finally arrive, ask, how am I growing through this journey? These questions transform obstacles into opportunities and frustration into fuel. Remember this, the person who starts the journey of transformation is not the same person who completes it. Your perception, your capacity, your understanding, all will evolve along the way. This means you cannot fully comprehend the end from the beginning. You must trust that the path will reveal itself as you walk it. The process of becoming is not just about achieving an end result. It's about who you become through the process itself. The challenges you overcome, the fears you face, the persistence you develop, these become part of your new identity, often more valuable than the specific goal you set out to achieve. Daily habits are the invisible architecture of transformation. Your life today is essentially the sum of your habits. To become someone different, you must do different things consistently. Identify the daily actions that align with your future self. Do you need a morning routine of reading and reflection? Do you need regular exercise to build the energy your vision requires? Do you need daily practice in your craft? Whatever those key habits are, prioritize them ruthlessly. Let me share with you a powerful principle, the compound effect of micro habits. Transformation doesn't always require dramatic changes. Often it's the small 1% improvements made consistently that create exponential growth over time. A daily 5-minute practice maintained for a year yields over 30 hours of focused development. A small daily investment compounds into massive returns. The most effective habit strategy I've discovered is habit stacking. This means attaching a new desired habit to an existing automated behavior. Instead of relying solely on willpower, you leverage the power of existing neural pathways. For instance, if you already brush your teeth every morning without fail, attach your new 5-minute visualization practice immediately after brushing. The established habit creates a natural trigger for the new one. Creating environments that nurture growth is equally important. Your environment either supports your transformation or sabotages it. This includes your physical space, your information diet, and especially the people you surround yourself with. Redesign your environments to make your new behaviors easier and your old behaviors harder. Most people underestimate how powerfully environment shapes behavior. They try to use willpower to overcome unsupportive environments, which is like swimming against a powerful current. Instead, redesign your environment so it naturally carries you toward your goals. Remove temptations that derail your progress. Place visual reminders of your vision where you'll see them daily. Restructure your physical spaces to make priority activities convenient and distractions inconvenient. Think of your transformation as a plant. The right environment, proper soil, water, light, doesn't force the plant to grow. It simply creates conditions where growth naturally occurs. Your job isn't to force transformation through sheer will. is to create conditions where transformation naturally unfolds. The power of associations in becoming cannot be overstated. You will naturally become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. Their beliefs, their energy levels, their ambitions or lack thereof will shape you more than you realize. This doesn't mean abandoning old friends, but it does mean intentionally seeking relationships with those who embody qualities you aspire to develop. There's a principle I call proximity power. The people you spend time with create an invisible field that either elevates or diminishes you. Their standards become your subconscious norms. Their limitations can become your ceiling if you're not careful. Conversely, their achievements can expand your sense of what's possible. Choose these influences intentionally. Measuring progress on the journey is essential but often misunderstood. Traditional metrics may not capture true transformation. Instead of focusing solely on external achievements, develop metrics for internal growth. Are you becoming more courageous, more authentic, more resilient, more purposeful? These qualities matter more than superficial markers of success. Another practical step is regular renewal. Transformation demands energy, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. You cannot sustain the process without intentional renewal in each of these areas. Schedule regular times for rest, reflection, connection, and inspiration. Language is another practical tool for transformation. The words you habitually use shape your perception and experience. Adopt the language of your future self. Eliminate phrases like, I can't, I've always been this way, or that's just not me. Replace them with, I'm learning to. Your brain believes what you tell it repeatedly. When you continually speak the language of limitation, you neurologically reinforce those limitations. When you consistently use the language of possibility and agency, you create new neural pathways that support your becoming. This isn't positive thinking, it's neurological reprogramming. Documenting your journey accelerates transformation. Keep a journal of your insights, challenges, and breakthroughs. This serves multiple purposes. It clarifies your thinking, provides encouragement during difficult phases, and creates a record of how far you've come when your memory minimizes your progress. The ideal accountability relationship isn't just about checking boxes. It's about having someone who understands both your vision and your vulnerabilities. The right accountability partner doesn't shame you when you falter. They remind you of who you're becoming when you temporarily forget. They hold the vision of your future self even when you lose sight of it. They ask questions that deepen your commitment rather than just tracking your compliance. Celebration is another essential practice. Acknowledge and celebrate progress no matter how small. Transformation is challenging. Without celebration, it can become grim and unsustainable. Celebration isn't just a reward, it's fuel for continued growth. Finally, practice forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness. You will falter. You will temporarily revert to old patterns. You will wonder if transformation is possible for someone like you. In these moments, forgiveness restores your belief and renews your commitment. These practical steps aren't magic, but applied consistently, they create the conditions in which transformation becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Remember, extraordinary results come from ordinary actions performed with extraordinary consistency. As we conclude, I want to leave you with this fundamental truth. Becoming is not a destination, it's a continuous journey. There is no point at which you arrive and say, I am finished becoming. The moment you stop becoming, you start diminishing. Life operates in cycles of transformation. Each time you complete one cycle of becoming, you discover a new horizon of possibility that invites another cycle. This is not a burden. It's the great adventure of being alive. It means that no matter your age or circumstance, there is always a new level of becoming available to you. And I want you to understand something profound about the nature of potential. Your potential isn't a fixed quantity that you gradually fulfill until it's depleted. Potential is generative. The more you express, the more you discover. Like the horizon that continuously recedes as you approach it, your potential expands as you advance toward it. This means you never arrive at your full potential. You continuously generate new possibilities through the act of becoming. This understanding transforms how you view setbacks and plateaus. They aren't failures, they're recalibration points. They're opportunities to reassess, redirect, and recommit to your journey of becoming. Every great transformation includes these moments of apparent standstill that are actually preparation for the next surge of growth. Your responsibility to the world is to become your authentic self, not for fame or recognition, but because the world needs what only the authentic you can provide. When you fail to become who you were meant to be, we all lose something irreplaceable. Consider this. You were born an original, but most people die copies. They spend their lives trying to be someone else, someone they saw, someone they admired, someone they thought they should be. But the world doesn't need another copy. It needs your authentic voice, your unique gifts, your distinct perspective. When you diminish yourself to fit in, you rob the world of the contribution only you can make. The most tragic form of loss isn't death. It's what dies inside us while we live. Our unfulfilled potential, our unexpressed abilities, our undeveloped gifts. These losses are invisible but devastating, not just for us, but for a world desperately in need of what we could have offered. The legacy of transformation extends far beyond your own life. When you demonstrate the courage to leave behind limitations and step into greater authenticity, you create permission for others to do the same. Your transformation becomes an invitation. There's a ripple effect to authentic transformation that you may never fully witness. When you break through a limiting belief, you make it easier for others to break through similar limitations. When you demonstrate courage in becoming, you inspire courage in others. When you live from your authentic self, you create space for others to discover their authenticity. Your personal transformation has collective implications. I've observed a principle throughout history. Significant cultural transformations always begin with individual transformations. A person transforms, then a family, then a community, then a society. Your commitment to becoming isn't just a personal indulgence. It's a contribution to collective evolution. This means your transformation matters in ways you cannot fully measure or predict. Think about the people watching you, your children, your colleagues, your friends. They're observing how you handle the challenge of becoming. They're learning from how you face your fears, how you leave behind comfortable limitations, how you pursue your authentic purpose. Whether you realize it or not, your journey of becoming is teaching others what's possible for them. This understanding brings both responsibility and liberation. Responsibility because your becoming matters beyond yourself. Liberation because you don't have to be perfect in the process. Your honest struggles with transformation can be as powerful an example as your successes. What matters is that you remain engaged with the journey, committed to the process, faithful to your authentic self. So I challenge you today, embrace the necessary endings that make new beginnings possible. Find the courage to leave familiar limitations. Trust the process even when it's uncomfortable. Implement the practical disciplines that facilitate transformation, and above all, never settle for being less than you were created to be. Remember, you can't become who you're meant to be without leaving who you were. But what awaits you is worth everything you must leave behind. A caterpillar doesn't know what it's like to fly until it stops being a caterpillar. Neither will you know the heights you're capable of until you release who you've been to become who you were born to be. In closing, let me share what I believe is the ultimate purpose of transformation. It's not just about personal fulfillment or achievement. It's about becoming so fully yourself that you can make your unique contribution to the world. It's about bringing forth what lies within you so that it can serve what lies beyond you. It's about becoming a conduit for possibilities that can only flow through your authentic self. Your transformation isn't just for you, it's for everyone who will benefit from the gifts that only the authentic you can offer. It's for every life that will be touched by your courage to become. It's for every person who will find their own path to authentic becoming because you first showed the way. So begin today, take that first step away from who you've been, move toward who you're meant to be. Trust the process that unfolds between those 2 points. Remember that discomfort is the price of growth. Uncertainty is the path to possibility. And letting go is a prerequisite for receiving. The journey continues. The becoming never ends. And that is the greatest adventure of all.